It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
Captain Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
Back to Hollywood, to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX. This is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody clapping out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty!
Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
Hey, y'all, it's old Alan Autry on Taco Tuesday at KXEX. And once again,
Not a taco in the house. Sad, man.
Taco, where have you gone?
Bobby, Bullet Bob, we're going to have to stop calling it Taco Tuesday. I mean, life's full of tough choices. Or make sure we have tacos.
Do we actually have tacos on Taco Tuesday?
Or
What a novel approach.
Yes. Every time I say that, I feel like the biggest fraud. Taco Tuesday out there.
I had some waffles this morning. Maybe we can call it Waffle Tuesday, but it doesn't have quite the same ring.
Not that Waffle Wednesday, maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but not Taco Tuesday.
Hey, before we get too far along,
yes.
Can I one thing? You just delivered to me,
yes,
a birthday card.
Mm-hmm.
My birthday was 5 or 6 weeks ago, so I don't know where this has been. If it's been stuck in your hermetically
I don't get
sealed
in my office
jar
often enough, and I have some other things I need to open up. There's some gifts back there. I'm sorry. I've been doing the Sylvester Stallone series.
Yeah, well,
on airplanes going everywhere. The busy life of Alan Autry. No, really, sincerely, I value the gifts that were given, and I've got to open those up, and I will soon because I'm getting a little downtime. But go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to Debbie Stickler. Thank you, Deb, for the very kind birthday card. I just got it, and although it says it was postmarked August 2nd, the Alan Autry mail system, slower than the old Pony Express.
We got a bad pony.
Thank you, Deb.
We got an old nag that
card.
delivered that. Yeah, Deb from well, blame Deb on that. Loaded old Buford up on an old nag, and it took a while to get here. But no, kid, thank you so much.
You, Deb.
Yeah,
very kind.
And knowing this,
very nice.
Knowing this guy as long as I have, childhood buddies, when he receives something like that, it really touches him. Remember when I gave you that old beat up 1963 card of Choo Choo Coleman? I tried to trade it for your Mickey Mantle, and you almost did it. You're an amazing guy.
Well,
really, I wasn't trying to take advantage of it.
Well, Choo Choo. Well,
yes, I was.
I ended up getting like 40 Choo Choo Colemans.
Boy, Choo Choo was everywhere, man.
He was a popular baseball card. Not much of a player,
man.
but a heck of a...
You know, inflation. It's just
yes, I do.
It's
now that you reminded me.
We all know old inflation way too well, man. I tell you, it's devastating. But actually, it's even hit so bad. It's hit our sayings and our sports world and our old cliches even.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you know, a penny for your thought. 45 cents.
Buck and a half.
45 cents for your thoughts now. Wait a minute. An ounce of prevention versus a pound of cure? 10 ounces now. For just 1 pound of cure.
And he may not be a cure.
Yeah, it may not be a cure. And by the way, don't cry over spilt milk. Hey, when it's $4.50 a gallon, you have a right to cry your butt off. And beat your child when you turn over that milk. It's just crazy. And then finally, the sports world. You know Trent Dilfer, no longer does a quarterback drop a dime. He's got to drop a quarter in the end zone. And boy, we had a local boy, Josh Allen, drop 4 quarters last night.
Hey, I didn't see the whole game.
Oh, he was dominant.
Did he? Was he? Again?
This kid's got a streak going as impressive of a display of quarterbacking. And this is from last season. The playoff game and a couple of games prior to that, he's got like a 4 or 5 game streak going that he's playing as good as you could play in that position, I believe, in the history of the game. Now that's a bold statement, but that's you look at it. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's hitting the end zone. He's scrambling when he has to. The only thing I'm worried about, this kid, Trey Lance, your one play, when you run crazily, when you run with wild abandon, like Josh does, like Brett Favre did, but Brett Favre is one of his idols. Man, it's just a matter of time. This kid, Trey Lance, for quarterback for the 49ers, you do that option, you decide to keep it, and your whole world changes.
Yep.
Busted ankle, out for the season, turns your life upside down. That's the only thing I worry about. He took with Josh Allen. He ran a couple. It's exciting when he takes off with those running because he just doesn't care about his body. He's jumping over people, stiff arming people, taking on those tacklers head on. But you can only do that so much. So anyway, but sometimes you have to.
Well, the head coach is going to have to tell him to to kind of stop doing that.
Well, I think they probably have, but when you're out there on the field, especially at a quarterback, instinct just takes over. If you're a competitor,
yeah,
and this kid's obviously is just, third, fourth, fifth tier competitor. He's there like in Bradyville in terms of competition, being a competitor, and he has the wheels. The guy's fast. I saw him play at Fireball, little skinny guy. Not little, he was always tall, but skinny. I mean, he's like a rail out there. And I just did not, and he puts on, 40 pounds and drops his 40 time down to about 4.4, 4.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, this kid is, he's, they I don't know what they're feeding him out in Fireball, but this kid's got it, and they are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. All right, hey, we talked about this a little bit before the show came on. You made a good point.
We did?
Yes, we did. Talked about a lot of things.
That I'm aware of.
Yes, some important and some that would be of only interest to you and I.
The name Larry Fine came up in the conversation.
Larry Fine, one of the Three Stooges. All right, let me spend like 10 seconds on that. What Bull Bob's talking about is,
mind like a dragon. As
you get older, your perceptions on things change. And I was sharing with Bob before the show, how on MeTV, they're showing, I don't know if you have MeTV where you live. It's a national deal there. It's all these old shows that, quite frankly, I never watched growing up. I thought they were kind of boring. My mom and dad did, all of them black and white. Wagon Train, Gunsmoke, Perry Mason. I'm into Perry Mason, although Raymond Burr takes minimalist acting to a new level. I mean, you talk about easy money there.
I was never a fan of that show.
But I kind of am now. But anyway, I've been watching The Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason. I never thought Jackie Gleason was that funny, except one role, Smokey and the Bandit, where he played Buford T. Justice. I mean, it is one side split and laugh after another. In fact, I saw a little thing on YouTube of him and with all of the highlights of Smoking a Bandit. I'm going to watch the movie this week sometime. But I'm into Gleason and the Honeymooners, and I'm just sitting in bed watching this thing. It comes on at 11:30, I believe, on MeTV.
11:30 at night?
Yeah, I'm a night
PM?
owl. I'm a night owl.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Oh gosh. No. My routine is I'll do that, and then I'll hit Perry Mason, and if it's okay, I'll stay with Perry Mason. After Perry Mason, 12:30 is a Twilight Zone. That's 30-minute Twilight Zone, and they usually have
I could say
some of the best ones. 1 o'clock, then you hit Alfred Hitchcock's.
Oh my word! How much sleep do you get at night?
I about 5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
You're supposed to get about 7 or 8 hours.
That's like me.
How much you get?
I usually get between 5 and 6.
Do you? Does that work for you?
If I go to bed at 10, I'll be up at 4 in the morning.
Do you sleep all the way through?
No.
I don't either. I'm up every hour.
No. Well, I'm not up every hour, but
I'll go right back to sleep, but I'm up every hour.
If I get up, it's tough for me to get back to sleep. I know this is thrilling conversation for our fans.
Well, it is. It is for us.
They're underwhelmed by the whole process.
When it comes to sleep, I'm a narcissist. I can talk about sleep all day. Or lack of it.
Yeah, because I can't sleep.
But anyway, it's kind of fun getting into those shows and how simplistic things were. The acting, sometimes it's good. I saw Robert Redford and old Alfred Hitchcock. Seen some of the great actors.
Yeah.
In those.
Got a lot of them in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. And the classic William Shatner with the creature out on the wing on the airplane. And he opens that window up and it's right there next to him. Classic. All right. You made a statement.
I did?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And it's and I disagreed with it. Well, you only got half your statement, so maybe I'm going to let you finish it. Then you had something else you wanted to before we started talking about Larry Fine. And the reason is Larry Fine was I thought Curly and Moe were really funny. Larry was not funny when I was a kid. Now I watch the Stooges and Larry just splits my gut. And that was the point about that. I had to clean that up. These immigrants that Governor Ron DeSantis, Governor Abbott, and Governor, I think, Lucy or Schmoosey. I don't know his name. I don't mean any disrespect with that. That's
not at all.
It's more of an insult to my memory and my brain than him. But the guy that's
Arizona.
Moosey in the sky with diamonds. The guy in Arizona shipping immigrants to other parts of the country. mostly affluent areas via bus. And everybody on the left is just going apoplectic. They're going nuts. Ken Burns, of all people, on all the shows saying it is a crime against humanity. Gavin Newsom echoing that, a crime of humanity. Now, my question is, and we know in politics, it's just, you could cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's thick. It's everywhere on both sides. What's good for the goose is definitely not good for the gander, and we get all of that. But I think here's a glaring example of an issue of which, if we don't get control of it, it spells troubles and holes dug so deep, it's going to take generations to get out of. You just cannot absorb millions of new people with no place to put them, just willy-nilly letting them come in. And, you know, I'm for orderly immigration, and you do it legally, and that system needs to be reformed so people that want to come here and work can do that. But how can the left go nuts and accuse DeSantis of human trafficking? In fact, Newsom said the attorney general should investigate DeSantis for kidnapping. Now, just hold on a second. Biden, this administration, President Biden, has been flying plane loads of immigrants for the last 2 years, actually since he's been in office. He immediately, one of his first acts was to get rid of Trump's stay in Mexico policy, which simply meant while your case is being adjudicated, stay in Mexico instead of coming here. Because when you come here, you say you're going to show up for your court hearing, but you never do. You just disappear. So they said, just stay in Mexico. You're in the system. We'll get to you, but stay there until that's done. He did away with that. And immediately the surge came. You remember the Haitians underneath all those makeshift huts underneath the overpass tent cities everywhere. And he started flying these people everywhere. Florida, smaller communities, and just letting them off. And what is that? If you're going to call sending somebody to Hyannisport a crime against humanity, which has more capital, more money per square inch, more millionaires per square inch probably than any place in America, who have the capability and the resources to take care of these migrants. And by the way, the political philosophy is let us help them. And that is a crime against humanity, yet dropping immigrants off in small little towns all around the country who really don't have the infrastructure, the jobs and the shelter for these people. And in El Paso, where you have 1,900 a day coming across the border, they're supposed to have all the infrastructure. What do you think about that, Bob?
Well, you have to look at the line that the current administration is pushing out there. Remember, just last week, Kamala Harris, the border czar, said that the border is secure. In the interview she did with, I guess, Chuck Todd, I think, who really pressed her. I said, well, there's millions of people coming through, and you think the border is secure. And she, after she went around the circle about 4 times, said, yes, the border is secure. The administration, we have secured the border. And she was supposed to, of course, go down there a couple of years ago or a year ago and work wonders and whatever she was supposed to do. And that never happened. But it's a real humanitarian issue for me. And I think it is for most people, regardless of what side of the fence you're on in this thing. Sending these folks to Martha's Vineyard, it definitely made a point. It definitely made a point with everyone on the left. But you still have those folks that you have to send somewhere. So they ended up going to a base there in Cape Cod, a military base.
Oh, yeah, they got them out in one day.
Yeah, they got them out in one day.
They gave them a warm meal.
Not in my backyard.
Thank you for dropping in.
Yeah, not
Goodbye.
in my backyard, right?
Don't let the yacht hit you in the butt on the way out to Cape Cod.
Yeah, the bow.
The bow hits you
in the butt. But, but I read an article, and
you said something, though, but I just want to agree with the statement you made that I agreed with. Is these poor people have been used as pawns.
Yeah, absolutely.
They broke the law being here. Yeah, I get all of that, and you have to have respect for the law. They need to really, truly secure the border, not only for the well-being of the American economy and all the services have to be provided, which we just don't have, in that type of abundance, but for all the human trafficking. I mean, these policies with Biden that he's instituted has become the cartel's best friend. I mean, really, he's in cahoots, if you look at it, in partnership with the cartels. They love this policy. Open borders come in, they exploit these migrants, rape, human trafficking, the sexual, horrific sexual atrocities that go on, murder. It's just in so many levels so sad for those immigrants, of which most of them are not terrorists. Some of them are.
I have no problem with the folks coming across. They've been invited, more or less, to come over. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with it. They all want to improve their lives. And where's the best country to do that? Well, that's here in the U.S. So I really don't have a problem. I have a problem in the fact that we don't have a permanent solution to the border issue with regard to letting the migrants in and legally. And so I don't have a problem with them coming in necessarily, because they've been, in my mind, invited in. There's no ramifications.
Yeah, they pretty much, Biden has said.
So they come in here and they're promised all of these things, and then they start getting shipped around to all these different states. And it'd be interesting to see what kind of conditions they have after they've been here for 6 months. Where are they living? What are they doing? Are they able to get by? Are they getting public assistance? What's going on with them? I don't know. I'll have to.
Well, I think this, what man meant for evil, God meant for good. And I think you hit it right on the head. That this is really shining a big spotlight on the total dysfunction on the border and how big of an issue that this is. And it is a human issue about humanity, absolutely. But actually, the threat, when you let millions and millions into this country, I don't care how affluent. Let me tell you, everybody knows we're not as affluent as we used to be, and the trajectory ain't going the right way. It's not going. Inflation continues to rise. The national debt, and almost $30 trillion of national debt, we're going to pay that back. Both parties at each other's throats. No compromise for the greater good of this country. Even seen any glimmer of hope. You got a war raging in Ukraine. You got China looking at Taiwan. You have a country basically bankrupting itself with no spirit at all to work together on solving these problems. But by all means, let millions of people come in and do what with them? There's only so much, the country has maxed out in terms of printing free money. Going to $6 trillion. We see what it's doing to the economy. It's stoking inflation. Let me tell you, inflation, it's not like getting a cold. It's like cancer. It's tough to cure. It has brought down country after country after country. Just look around the world and see the devastating effects of out of control inflation. Once you let that booger go, it is tough to corral. So, that light that shined on this of saying, I say, look, a moratorium on immigration right now. You just put a moratorium. Call a halt. Don't let anybody in here anymore right now. We can't afford it. My goodness, you can call a moratorium on seeing your because of a national emergency, your poor dying mother or father in a hospital because of a pandemic. You can keep people trapped in their homes. Yeah, you can't, but you can't call a moratorium on the border for a while till we get this thing properly addressed with the time and the effort that's necessary. Something's got to happen. I think it's going to be a big issue, Bobby, in the midterms. Go ahead.
Well, my question then has always been, who really wants to attempt to resolve the problem? Is there a will by the federal government to come up with a comprehensive plan, immigration plan? Do they really want to do that? I don't know. I would hope, being the eternal optimist, I guess, at times, I would hope there would be that there would be folks at the national level that would want to get together, bipartisan, whatever it takes, with the states to come up with a comprehensive immigration reform plan. But then I wonder, do they really want to? Couldn't they do something if they really wanted to?
No, you're onto something. It's obvious. We can be captains obvious here that out of control immigration, having it just the way it is benefiting someone or some ideology. We know what that is. It helps the far woke left, not your classic American liberal, but your woke left, who's the tail wagging the Democratic dog right now, the party. This crazy woke far left that supports CRT, supports expanding court, get rid of filibuster, teaching kids to hate each other, at birth because of the color of their skin, and all of that stuff. That's the ideology. And they feel as much chaos that can be created, the better. Because that chaos, they feel, will eventually destroy the basic institutions of what this country was based upon. Number one, law and order, the economy, the free market system. It will just add to that effort, which is to just destroy. Because if you were going to look at a playbook to destroy a country, as is, good or bad, but just destroy the country, one of the first things you would do would be just erase their borders. Let anybody come in, because it's a recipe for chaos. Every country in the world has borders. In order to, and there's a reason for that. You have borders so you can get your arms around that land space, if you will, and create a government that you choose, if it is a democracy. But even if you want to preserve a communist regime, whatever it is, you have borders. Simply having over borders, you don't have a country. If you don't have a country, it's hard to be able to develop an economy that works. It's insanity what they're doing, but only insane if you think this country's worth saving. If you don't, then all of this stuff makes perfect sense. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and so Alan Autry, no retreat. When we come back, we may extend this talk a little bit for today, but we also want to talk about this apparent Ukraine victory lap that's happening over there. Is a little bit premature? I think so. We're going to talk about it when we come right back.
I want to do one of the On This Days.
You got it.
We come back.
We shall.
Right.
How y'all doing? Social media. Been good? I hope so. I tell you, we got rained here.
Yeah.
Earlier, and you were the one, I believe.
I was.
That brought me the forecast when you said, Hoss, I learned that it's probably going to be a long, hot winter with very dry winter.
To Farmer's Almanac.
Yes, that's right. I remember it now.
Yeah. It's just going to be a dry winter. Not much snow or rain. Well, we only got 0.2 of an inch.
The medieval days, man, I could just beheaded you for bringing me they killed the messenger. When he told me that, I could understand those kings. What? No, but that early rain, so maybe they're wrong.
Well, I'm hoping. We definitely need that. What a trite phrase. We definitely need rain.
Well, we do.
We haven't had rain for 4 years or more.
But you don't want to know? You know what I want to know?
What do you want to know?
Who will stop the rain? What? I want to know who stopped the rain. And by the way, who did let the dogs out?
I don't think that's ever been answered, to be honest.
These are things I think about. My
just wondering, just contemplating, what? Yeah. Who let the dogs out?
And who'll stop the rain? Well,
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I wish I had that kind of fell flat.
Hey.
I wish I had a comeback for that, but I don't.
No, it's just sitting around. These are
I'm
things.
still stuck on my waffles from this morning. It's a waffle Tuesday.
1 minute?
That could go for Waffle Wednesday.
It's getting ridiculous. Taco Tuesday without any tacos.
We
Are we waiting for
tacos
somebody? Like Laura sent us some tacos for Robberitos.
Yeah.
We'll bring in some Robberitos. I'll try to remember.
Robberitos?
Can you? Maybe we can have a Rob burrito, not Rob like burrito, like you eat a burrito. Robert, like you. Yeah. Robberito.
Oh, a Robberitos
30 seconds
restaurant.
Yes, Robberitos.
A Robberito. I didn't know what a Robberito tasted like.
Oh my goodness! This crime's getting out of hand. Did you see that guy go crazy with the axe in New York?
Yeah,
chopped up a McDonald's.
Yeah, he got out.
Got out of jail,
no bail. On the new no bail thing, because that
I'm going to get in trouble. If I would have been packing,
that crime was not considered bad enough.
If I would have been packing there in that McDonald's, the guy's coming with a hatchet going after people. Might be one morning shot.
This
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat. 1 hour of the most forgettable news that you will ever experience. But it's like fast food.
Riveting dialogue.
It's fast food. You eat it, you enjoy the heck out of it, like Taco Bell. You go in there and you get yourself full, then you want to forget you ever went in there because you're so full.
Ask you,
that's what we want. Come in here, get fed, then forget you ever
when people ask you where you ate, you say it's some big fancy expensive restaurant, not Taco Bell. Hey,
what?
On this day.
Yes.
I love doing these things because I learn something every time I do this.
There's one out there that doesn't. No, I'm two. I like them. I don't know. But go ahead.
Well, all the talk about electric vehicles.
Yeah, a lot of talk about that
we've been going through ad nauseum. On this day, what is it? September 20th, 1893, the first gasoline-powered car debuted in Springfield, Massachusetts. Really? On this day in 1893.
How many feet did it get to the gallon?
Don't know that, but no.
Was it right up there with the Wright brothers?
No horses were injured in that first trip. Yeah,
1893.
Hey, by the way, in 1814, going back even further,
took a little trip along with Colonel Sanders out of mighty Mississippi.
There you go. The Star Spangled Banner was published as a song that day. Yes. Francis Scott Key.
Wow.
Yeah. So two huge.
If they ever, I'm a Star Spangled Banner. I don't want to change the national anthem, all this movement. But America the Beautiful would be a good one. If they ever did.
Yeah.
Would you support that?
That might not be too bad. I've actually been to Fort McHenry. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Did it do something to you when you're there? Knowing all the history and all that stuff.
It was very cool.
The only reason I say that, I went and saw all the artifacts at the Ford Theater when I was in Washington, D.C. And you can get right up the glass case, and there's Abraham Lincoln's coat that he was wearing when he was shot.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, you're right there. Right next to it is the Derringer that John Wilkes Booth used. Yeah. Dang actor took him out. What a thing for the profession to live down.
Apparently, he was a pretty good actor in his movie.
Yes, he was well known.
Shakespearean actor.
It'd be like Tom Cruise taking out a president nowadays. Sincerely.
Well,
we're really off on a tangent. We better go to Laura to help save the show. Laura, you there? You got some info on immigration. Laura, save us. Save us.
Are you there? I'm here.
I'm here.
Okay, your toilet paper arrived yesterday, by the way, so check your office.
I will.
I got you the mega roll.
Oh, excellent. I'm going to make Guillermo so mad. He's going to plug up
did she send you some?
Yeah, she sent
some two-ply?
And I'm going to.
Yes, honey, Sherman.
Guillermo is going to be so scared.
You don't want to know all the details.
Well, we got another Yale only.
Well, what we do, anyway. what the problem is, underneath us is a school, it's a charter school, and when it plugs up, it the water goes down and drops on the heads of the students.
Well, sometimes you have to learn hard lessons when you're a kid. Sometimes plumbing is faulty.
Exactly. Life is full of tough choices. And let me tell you, if it's between those kids and me using that toilet paper that he's got in there,
they're out of luck.
Yeah, out of luck. Sorry, said. It's like, Laura, learn the tough lessons in life now.
Oh, my word.
You'll stink now, but you'll thank me later.
That's right.
Okay, what you got on your mind about the info on some immigration here?
Okay, well,
we talking to some immigration
here in Florida. That's backfired a little bit on Ron DeSantis.
Explain.
I have a friend who is very, very active. He's a Republican. He's a Cuban American. I've known him. This is going to make me throw up in my mouth a little bit, but I've known him for 47 years. Yeah, I've known him since I was 7. That's terrifying. But anyway, we grew up together, and I ended up talking to him on the phone last night for about 2 hours. And he said Cuban American Republican voters in Dade, Broward are livid that he did this. And because you have to understand from their perspective, they are extremely empathetic to the Venezuelan people because their parents and grandparents endured the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And so for them, this was a very knee-jerk moment when they saw this footage of these people coming off these buses. They didn't see illegal immigrants. They saw their parents and grandparents. Mm-hmm. And so I understand that. But here's my issue with it. This could have been a tremendous opportunity for these Republican governors. Instead of making it a $12 million troll move, what they should do is they should reach out in writing to these sanctuary state governors and say, we're in a crisis. We need your help. We have to send these people to you, okay? If those governors refuse, you have indefensible, irrefutable evidence that they're talking out of both sides of their face. Mm-hmm. If they say yes, well, once they start taking those people, it all sounds great when you're taking 50. But when those buses keep coming, and you have to start siphoning off resources for your Democratic voters, they're not going to get their new park. They're not going to get the sidewalks. They're not going to get these things because we have to use this for community resources to help the immigrants that we're taking from Texas and Arizona. Mm-hmm. So what do you think then is going to happen? Those Democratic governors are going to start screaming at the same party administration in the White House. So it would have been a win-win because there's power in numbers. And when you have 2 governors who are furious about the immigration situation, nobody's going to listen. But when you have 30, somebody's going to listen.
You know, I think you bring up a good point about giving, the old paper trail. I was always, when I was in office, before you take a big action that is controversial or has the potentiality to be in the news or what have you, you want to be able to say, look, we tried A, B, C, and D before we did E, okay? And there's a lot of strategic value to that, I have found, what you just said. I don't know if maybe they have done that. Hopefully, DeSantis, whether you like DeSantis or not. Yeah. But here's what I think, and as I think about this, even though, as I said, the Bible says what man meant for evil, God meant for good. Rest assured, those 50 migrants, they have been registered. They know the names of every single one of those. The people there at Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod, right? Because the last thing in the world they want is something happen nefariously to one of those 50. They get harmed in some way. They get left out, and the local news gets a hold of one of them or whatever. I'm just speaking how politicians think. Not that they necessarily care that much, but they're almost forced to really care for this 50. And I'm just using this 50 as an example, as a microcosm for the whole deal. That 50, I feel, hit the immigration lottery because they are going to have opportunities in abundance because of the political consequences that would come if something bad happened to them. There's going to be extraordinary efforts to place those 50 at Cape Cod into jobs, into housing, into sponsors, that sort of thing. Again, I'm not saying that DeSantis didn't do it to get political points and troll like you're saying. It's just for those, I'm speaking from like Bob's point of view, for those people. They're not a number. They're not 50. They're each individual human beings with a mother and a father that God loves. That God loves as much, just like Afghanistan that you work with. People, they're just numbers to a lot of people. They're not numbers to Laura Fisher. Those people that are been left behind, that you work so tirelessly. They're to the point where you can almost care too much for your own health. You care about those people. That from that perspective of which I speak, though, Laura, not in time of the political, the analysis, we can do that. But just for those 50. Now, what do you do with the thousands of others? And I think that's what you're talking about. Because, exactly. Because this technique won't work continually. But for right now, those 50 really did hit the jackpot. They're going to be okay. They're going to be okay.
This whole thing, Alan, I mean, we're in a midterm, and this could have optically been so much better. Because
I agree.
I tell you,
I agree.
know a lot of people who are independent
who
are absolutely disgusted because those people were used as political pawns to score points with people he doesn't need to score points with. They're already going to vote for him. It's people like me that you need to get to the polls.
Right.
And doing cruel things like that doesn't help. I can tell you right now, had that man called a Democratic governor and said, Texas is in crisis, I have money, I can send immigrants to you. They need help. They don't have the infrastructure. They're desperate. He could have gotten unlikely allies. He could have shown that he can work in a bipartisan way and that he was acting as a humanitarian, trying to help get these.
I think you're right on. I think that's tremendous, and I know.
Great point.
Yeah, I think you make a great point strategically for DeSantis that he probably missed that. And he tried to cover himself, and I'm glad that he did, because he's a smart guy. Is that he apparently got waivers, or the permission to they were supposedly briefed on what Martha's Vineyard was and was not, and ahead of time they supposedly did research that there's a lot of empty hotel rooms in Martha's Vineyard. They said they don't have any infrastructure when they clearly do. It's off season. There. Yes. No. I'm not. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just kind of thinking along with DeSantis, who, I think eventually, Laura, I think he's going to be the nominee for the Republicans.
I don't think he'll win if he keeps pulling stuff.
You're right. I know you're not a DeSantis fan, and this is, and I really respect you too for just analytically taking your personal feelings for him. From not calling him, DeSatan. I mean, you're putting that over there and just politically and critically thinking this through, which I love. That's the kind of conversation I like to participate.
This is where my biggest issue with him lies, is that he has the potential to be a very, very good president.
Oh, I got you're frustrated with him. Okay, I got you. Yeah, you're frustrated.
Because Vance is extremely intelligent. He's well educated. There are a lot of things about him that I do like. But the things that he does that are despicable, childish, and disgusting overwhelm those things. And they're not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessary.
Well,
to act in such a despicable way on so many, and I'm not just talking about this. I'm talking about things here in Florida and things that he says and things that he does. We are 47th in the country for educational funding and teacher pay, but yet you're going to go blow money on dumb things.
Well, do you think Charlie Crist has a chance to beat him?
Yes, now with him making the Cuban American community so angry, he is only ahead by 2 points.
No, but what's your prediction on it? Just give a prediction. I'm not trying to catch this. It's just interesting. What's your prediction?
This state is so closely divided. When he won in 2018, they had to do a recount.
Okay.
He only won by 1%, less than 1%.
So you think it's going to be? Do you think it's? Do you think Charlie Crist pulls it out?
I think he has potential to. Am I happy that he's the nominee? Not really.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd rather have somebody that's a little milquetoast than somebody who obviously has serious ego and decision-making problems.
Okay.
If DeSantis could become more mature and grow up and stop trying to appeal to people who are already going to vote for him and the lowest denominator of his base in pulling these gross unnecessary tactics on my dime, I could vote for him.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a very interesting take on it. One that you don't hear very much out there on radio like this. But you said
I don't think it's me.
But you know, and I think with this the race in Florida, I kind of agree with you though on the point of you have to watch that you don't become overexposed and you don't like that camera a little too much. And DeSantis has to be careful about that, as every politician does.
In a very, very closely divided state with a high number of independents that stand right on the center aisle, doing dumbassery is not going to get you people to the polls.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say, dumbassery?
Against you, as opposed to for another candidate.
Dumbassery? I got it.
We have that in a multitude.
I got a degree in that from UOP. I got a degree in dumbassery. In fact, I'm working on my PhD here on the show.
And you learned well. Because
I learned well. All right, Laura, as always, thank you for those
great insight, Laura.
You know, like I said, a penny for your thoughts. They're up to about $1.50. So the check's in the mail for your thoughts there. Appreciate you so much. And we're going to take a break. We come right back.
Enjoy your toilet paper.
We will. And you find emails to DeSantis. It would do him good to hear from you. I really mean that. All right. It's Alan Autry, No Retreat with Bullet Bob Lioni, the band. We'll be right back.
That would have been a tremendous. That's a great idea. If those guys could have thought of that.
What's that?
Go to the other governors.
And it gives
governors and say, "Hey, we've got a situation here. Can you help us out?" And like you say, do the paper trail.
Well, they'd say no. You're going to get what you want anyway.
Then you made the case.
Yeah,
you automatically made the case.
Yeah,
great.
And then you're able to show that up here. Here's the email that I sent.
Exactly. Yeah. Peace in our time.
Yeah, right. Do you know that guy, Neville Chamberlain, when he brought that back from Hitler, that so-called peace in our time, that peace treaty with Great Britain, his poll numbers were bigger and stronger than pretty much any politician in history during that time.
I believe
he's looked at now as a kind of a naive puppet thing, because of what happened. What Hitler did, but bringing that back, because at that time the disarmament movement was full-fledged after World War I. Everybody didn't want war. They were not arming. They were reducing their military capability. And England and all the influential philosophers and politicians over there were all for disarmament, except Winston Churchill. He says, "Aren't you watching over there in Germany?" There's a dude that not only is he not disarming, he's building one of the most powerful, largest armies that we've seen in the world. And he's going to use it for not good things. That's just his nature. And so when he came back, but
Chamberlain believed him.
Yeah.
He
believed him.
Who are you waving to?
Guillermo's wife.
Right there?
Yes.
That
1 minute?
Yes.
Oh.
It's definitely the better half.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Excuse me. All right, we got...
no doubt about that.
9 little minutes. 8 minutes.
Well, with inflation, that's about 16.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to inflate into... Who follows us, Jeremy? Who follows us on the show here? Who's on at 1?
Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, the other mayor.
30 seconds?
Excuse me.
How long? What's his show for? Hour?
He's an hour.
Yeah. You can tell I listen to the station.
Back-to-back mayors.
That can never be a good thing. Would you want to touch on?
You know what a
10 seconds?
You know what a midget is? Mayor with the crap knocked out of him. Boy, I'm in trouble with the tiny people, aren't I?
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry, No Retreat. About 7 minutes to go. Oh, gosh, we got several subjects here. But I'm really, really concerned about this Ukrainian victory lap that the country and the allies in Western Europe seem to be engaging in after a string of so-called victories. If you read the press reports from Reuters and Washington Post and around the world, that the Russians are on the move. They're running like scalded dogs, and it's just a matter of time before they chase them all the way back to Moscow and Ukraine.
Never going to happen.
Ukraine occupies Moscow, and
Never.
Putin's out, in prison awaiting trial. And what I see it is happening exactly like I said on this first show. Number one, a non-nuclear power is not going to beat a nuclear power. Push comes to shove, those nukes will be used. But you also have the second most powerful army in the world, next to the United States, Russia. It's not China, it's Russia. They have not pulled out the big guns yet. And I said all along, the guy's smart. He's going to take a bite out of the apple. He's not going to try to eat the whole Ukraine apple. He's going to go into Kiev. He's going to bomb a lot of buildings. He's going to go into some other towns back there towards the west, to the border of Western Europe, and show what he can do if he wants to do it, and then retreat back to where he wants to be in the end anyway, which is complete control of the Donbass region, which is Luhansk and Donetsk there, which has a large Russian population and separatist movement, about 36,000, I think, in each little province that are very supportive of Russia, want to be part of the Russian Union. And then you get control of Mariupol, the port cities, Odessa. Then you have control economically of the Black Sea. He's got that. Okay, he's come in and got that. And now we see that they're going to have these referendums, Bobby, in these regions to officially vote, we want to be Russian.
Yep.
And as you said, what's your take on that? But to me, that's exactly where he planned on being at the end of all this.
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't think we should be surprised about what he plans to do now. He's not going to leave Ukraine. So the next best thing in order, because they have suffered losses, there's no doubt about that, and they've been pushed around a little bit by the Ukrainian army. So now he wants to annex certain portions of the country, have them declared as part of Russia. Now he can open up and do other things militarily.
Yeah.
One of the articles that I read, which was really kind of scary, was that he would be able to use...
Does mine rhyme with puke?
It was nuclear weapons.
Nukes.
Because now they're part of
Russia,
the country. Now, the article also mentioned that, the West will be very upset and they'll poo-poo this and they'll say, you can't do that. Putin doesn't care. He doesn't care what the West thinks.
Exactly.
And he also said what we said early on, 260 days ago, or whenever this thing started. You said it, and a number of our guests have said it. He's not in a hurry. That's a quote from him just the other day.
Right.
I'm not in a hurry, which is what we said. It was going to be a war of attrition. It was going to last a long time. He's going to wait this thing out. He's going to come up. He's got other things up his sleeve that he's going to try and initiate to get the part of the country that he wants, which is down by the Black Sea, the seaports.
Exactly.
And all of that.
This was not a retreat. It was a strategic withdrawal. Truly a strategic withdrawal from these areas. He never intended to occupy it because there was really nothing there. Kharkiv is too big of a city. It's too much part of the Ukrainian culture, if you will.
What does it have to offer?
Exactly. It's just going to be more trouble there. And he wasn't going to stay there long to begin with. Excuse me. So it's obvious what he's doing. It makes all the sense in the world if you're making a strategic withdrawal to go and implement what I look, and I think anybody with any common sense would come to the same conclusion, the final phase of his initial plan. Go in, fight like the Dickens, show what you can do, hold off the big guns going, okay, they've got bombs in there that are not nuclear bombs, the likes of which you don't want dropped on your soldiers out in the field. I mean, they have not used their biggest traditional bombs, which are devastating. They can pretty much wipe out a medium-sized city with a couple of these bombs, which are just horrifying in their power. They haven't used those. Okay, they haven't unleashed their air superiority with those MiGs and going in constantly. They haven't done a lot of those things because there's so many Russian. They're like brothers fighting brothers and sisters there. They're so closely tied. He's going to take this big bite out of Ukraine, the Donbass region, and you just said those port cities. That was the plan all along.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Lavrov was in the United States last week, telling the Biden, look, here's what we're going to do. Here's our plan. And when we withdraw, we're going to have this referendum. We're probably going to win. And we're going to declare these regions as part of Russia. So talk to your buddy Zelensky. Tell him once we're there, and you're going to see an offensive prior to that. You're going to see a big counteroffensive of military power. Mark my words on this. Then that's when I believe that you're going to have meaningful talks, and you're going to have Western Europe, as they experience this cold winter with energy bills through the roof, breaking budgets all over Western Europe because of that oil that's being denied them by Russia. And there's going to be thank God, a peace treaty. And again, what I'm saying, it doesn't make me support Putin. There's no excuse for doing an old school invasion, World War II style of another country. I mean, that's not how you do it, but, Bobby, reality's reality.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy, again, I don't think there should be any surprise that he's going to try and annex these sections of the country of Ukraine because it gives him so many more options militarily.
Right.
That he can choose from.
And he feels like he's a man of destiny, and when you get to that point, you're not going to turn back. You're not.
Is that Leonard Sly?
That's Leonard Sly, otherwise known as Roy Rogers, singing us out of here. Folks, thanks for tuning in on Taco Tuesday. Appreciate you so much. Promise we're going to have, I'm going to try to make sure we have tacos next time. On behalf of Bob and the whole KXEX family here, God bless you. Remember, do your best. Let God do the rest, and everything's going to turn out just fine. Bye-bye now.